The Cake Bake Shop might be one of the most controversial new additions to Walt Disney World Resort. And some people saying it's exorbitantly priced, and some people saying, no, 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 you just have to try it. Well, that Park Place reporters have been to Cake Bake Shop, although it is the original location. Here's our official review of the Cake Bake Shop, how it should be. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is a man who has not been to the Cake Bake Shop, Mr. VashSky. Vash, why haven't you tried the expensive cakes?
I just haven't been in the portions of the country where they previously existed, but now, well, maybe not right now, but soon, perhaps I'll indulge myself on the Cake Bake Shop, at least on Walt Disney World Vacation, which I've heard is, well, it's really something.
Oh, it is. I have to say that the Cake Bake Shop is really something that has to be seen to be believed. If Gideon's Bakehouse is the dark baker on your left shoulder, Cake Bake Shop by Gwendolyn Rogers is the light bakery on your right shoulder. Here, there's sugar and spice here, although I don't think there's a lot of spice in those uh, uh, Gideon's Bake Shop cookies there. Well, obviously there is spice, but not the savory ones. So just a quick update. I want to go to a story out of WDWNT real quick. The Cake Bake Shop lowers prices after viral outcry. Right there. What a beautiful location that is. Right there. The Cake Bake Shop by Gwendolyn Rogers at Disney's Boardwalk lowered the prices of most items following the viral outcry of its menu online. It says there's a private event in progress. Is it a media event that's going on in there? It looks like these prices include $23 for an egg sandwich, cake slices for $26 each, a $32 burger with pommes frites. That is fancy. Nancy would say that's fancy for French fries. Even a slice of toast was priced at $4. I bet it was a glittering slice of toast. I do have to say. Now, I have been to the Cake Bake Shop recently, but it wasn't this location. It was the original Cake Bake Shop location up in Broad Ripple. And I'm going to be there's some footage that I might be adding here for all of you to partake in. I'm going to say it did not go well, but one person who was in attendance did say that it was weird because I know what it's usually like at this location, but it's also kind of what we expect from Disney these days. Which, ooh, that's an interesting and fully loaded statement that maybe some of our viewers will understand. So the location itself is lovely. It's built into a cottage in Broad Ripple, and it's lit up in a way that is very inviting. If you walk in, there are fluttering birds playing in the sound system as well as an orchestral score. Interestingly enough, while our reporters were there, it seems that "I Know You," the song from Sleeping Beauty, the is it a Tchaikovsky piece, was playing. So there was some Disney magic there, whether it was intentional or not. I don't know that the piece itself is copywritten by Disney, but it was a piece used in Disney music. Looking around, actually, apparently Jim Cummings has been there. Brett Iwan, his picture is up on the wall. For those of you who don't know, Brett Iwan is one of the current voices of Mickey Mouse. They now have several that they have in rotation, including Christian Demontopoulos. Of course, there's a picture with Oprah, Elton John, other people like that. It's a very small location. So if someone came in with a large entourage, it would be very easy for them to book out the entire location. There's another location in, I want to say, Carmel, Indiana, that is a little bit closer to the feel that you would get from the Walt Disney World Resort location. With that being said, the service here was not fantastic. Our server did not come to the table for at least 20 minutes into what seemed to be a pretty quiet evening. And then we finally got to meet the person who took their place at the 20-minute mark. They did order a pot of tea for the table. It came out at 42 minutes. The tea itself was pretty expensive, $15 for a kettle of tea. Was large. It was actually good. I think it was the menthe poivrée, however that is pronounced. and it was good. The quiche, I have to say, was described by some of our reporters as gravity-defying and possibly the greatest quiche that they had ever tried. I think that one was closer to the $14 mark, the not the $23-ish price point that we would see in the Disney location. The quiche that came, several people in the party got quiche, and it was fantastic. It came with an arugula salad. I'm going to say that it sounded like there was a little too much zest put into that salad, and one person described it as appetizing as the word arugula is to pronounce. So not the biggest vote of confidence. For the cakes, they got the caramel cake and the Gwendolyn's Earl cake, whatever it is, the namesake cake of the cake bake shop, and they were actually pretty good, other than the fact that the Gwendolyn's cake had a shockingly salty first bite, because it has little salt chunks on the top of it. If you're not expecting that, that could be pretty surprising. Everything that was brought out glittered and sparkled, except for the tea. Although the kettle itself did sparkle, it was interesting. Small note: it seemed that several of the tablecloths in the room that our reporters were in were placed on the tables upside down, which is fascinating. And a small note: it seems that the restrooms were not clearly marked, so it was difficult. It was a strange thing, because when it's one location in a cottage and you walk in, you think, oh, well, this is charming. You're kind of forgiving of all of those interesting little idiosyncrasies, little things that are a little off in a small one cottage converted into a restaurant location. But I'm going to say, when you're talking about a company that is also running the major location in Carmel, Indiana, and also a Disney boardwalk location down at the what should be the largest, most visited, most trafficked theme park location in the world, and at that price point, you shouldn't be making comparisons to a Cuban sandwich shop in Tampa that is run by a small family. Like, they're so close, because the food is really good, arugula notwithstanding. The tea was great. The cake is the kind of cake that you would expect at that price point, whether or not someone wants to pay 16, or in Disney's case, $25 for a slice of cake. It is that good of cake if you want to pay that price for it. That being said, the party did spend three figures in order to have that meal at the Cake Bake Shop in Broad Ripple. So I don't know if this is something that is of interest to our viewers here. We can do a review of the Cake Bake Shop at a higher price point in a different location, surrounded by even more merchandise. But Vash, there are some other updates that we might give on the Disney version of the Cake Bake Shop, though.
Yes, and you just hit one of them right now, in which the Cake Bake Shop actually lowered its prices because it was a national story here. And look, as amazing as the meal by our reporters definitely sounds, I think a lot of people who, especially those not really understanding what the Cake Bake Shop actually was, were a little bit taken aback by this. It actually became a national news story at one point. The likes of Fox Business and other big name publications there getting the word out, and not just limited to the Florida area or even our sphere, but I mean, it was everywhere. So they did respond by shuffling prices around just a little bit. Single digits mostly. Some prices actually went up, which was a little bit funny to encounter. But this location has, I believe, officially opened. At least it hosted some media previews with the likes of Block Mickey, Walt Disney World News Today, and some other notable theme park press out there. You can see some of the first images from the inside of this location, so quite a big difference from what was previously there. The ESPN zone offshoot location there. You can see white tablecloths like you just described right there. Interestingly enough, I think I was reading this in the Walt Disney World News Today review of this. Some tables didn't even have white tablecloths on them at all. I believe they just had like glass tops and so forth. So there is some variety when it comes to the dining experience here. Ooh, that's I'm gonna say, Mike, nice photos, nice
Yes,
photos to accompany
absolutely.
this piece. But very fancy, very posh, very upscale, which I suppose is befitting of the boardwalk area. This area, that's nestled in between what is it, Epcot and Disney's Hollywood Studios, right there. Yacht and Beach Club kind of area, Swan and Dolphin, roughly. So looks pretty interesting. I know Walt Disney World News Today gave their article on this, saying that the food options, there were some that didn't quite hit. There were some that were maybe a little bit a touch too expensive than what they were advertised for, but they actually enjoyed their experience. There were some items like I believe the burrata, that were like really, really good in their opinion. Like they really had a great time and enjoyed themselves with the food and the dining options there. So it's one of these things where if you kind of know what you're getting into, if you understand the items to actually select on the menu and what is worth purchasing from this location, then you can have yourself a pretty great experience. It's going to cost you in the 3-figure range. That's just kind of how this is. But it wasn't quite the disaster that a lot of people had feared that it might
Oh
when
no,
those prices
no.
were announced.
And when we talked about the Cake Bake Shop on the WDW Pro channel, and I think we've talked about it earlier on that Park Place. By the way, that picture of quiche does not do this justice. It tastes better than it looks, which is a fascinating thing to say. And the arugula, I would rather clean something out of my lawnmower and sprinkle some lemon zest on it to see whether or not I might enjoy it more. It also seems to be smaller at this location. I wouldn't call that shrinkflation myself, but again, gravity defying quiche. You have to wonder how in the world they construct it. The way I don't think I would ever buy something that was called a po' boy for more than $20, though. 35
Yeah.
for a po' boy. That's I'm going to say that's cultural appropriation. Cultural appropriation. So here's the thing. This will have people that will go to it and will enjoy it and will say, yes, I did the really expensive thing. This is not going to be for everybody. It is something that would be, I would think, a special occasion kind of place. And I would say you should check out the Carmel in location up in Indiana, or the Broad Ripple location. This is something that I can see them making more locations. I think they will eventually make their money back on this. This isn't a Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser kind of experience where someone would need to go into debt in order to pay for it and would therefore not do it. This is the kind of thing that, well, you've wasted money for one meal. So I don't know. Is it for you? That's going to be for you to decide. Is it for me? Probably not. Is it for me on a date? Maybe. It depends on how much trouble I am in. With that being said, Vash, is there anything left to be said about the Cake Bake Shop? Should we go to the Disney World location? We already traveled all the way to the Broad Ripple location.
I think we should maybe give this a shot right here. It's definitely one of the most notable locations now, infamous locations at Walt Disney World property. It's stunning, Jonas, how even in the face of Premier Lightning Lane being added as an option, this 400 plus option that people can enroll in if they so choose to get around the reserve in advance system that they've tacked on to paid fast pass, with 2,000 different items being increased in price at Walt Disney World Resort within the last couple of days, with ticket price increases on both coasts, all this stuff going on. The Cake Bake Shop opening with elevated prices still cuts through all that noise and says, yeah, this is expensive.
Well,
I think it's worth seeing.
I think, in all fairness, if you ask me, character dining versus Cake Bake Shop, I think the Cake Bake Shop is the better value, and probably more notable than a couple of people in costumes walking around your table. So character dining, there is where they get you. If I'm speaking as a dad who, as has in the past, paid for expensive Disney vacations, the Cake Bake Shop, I think it's understood to be expensive, as opposed to, a ripoff. That being said, we want to throw this to our commenters. What do you think about the Cake Bake Shop? Are you planning on going to any of its locations? And would you like us to bite the bullet? I don't think I'm going to make the money back on sponsoring that cake bake trip that we used for fodder for this video. Let us know your thoughts on all of that in the comment section down below. Like this video if you like this video, and consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.